the numbers you do control. So the first 20, you don't have any control over, right? It's based on that LEI. That leaves 25 additional characters, right? For you to decide what you want to do with uppercase letters and numbers, no dashes, no symbols. Well, as you're coming up with what those numbers are going to be or letters are going to be, make sure you don't get cute with it and try to include something like personally identifiable information associated with your borrowers or principal owners or anyone associated with the transaction. That's off limits. No PII, personally identifiable information, is allowed to make up what is the remaining 25 characters that you get to control with that unique identifier. It has to be one of a kind, no reuse. Now, that brings me to another question. We've been asked a lot in coming up with what we're going to use for this remaining 25 alphanumeric characters. Hey, what if we just made it simple? You use our loan number, because it doesn't have to be the full 25 characters. It can be something less than that. And so if our loan number works, could we just use that? Well, you could, but I'm going to give you some more things to think about. And that is, all right, you use your loan number. That's great. As long as there's no PII in it, personally identifiable information, we're good to go. But what are you going to use for denied, withdrawn, and incomplete applications? Let's just do those first three bullets. Okay. You probably don't burn up loan numbers for denied, withdrawn, and incomplete. So you have to come up with some other numbering system and set it up such that those numbers never, ever get used again, because it's got to be unique to the transaction, right? But then there's that fourth one, okay, the fourth bullet on the screen. And this is the one that's probably going to be the biggest problem. Okay, if you use the loan number and then you modify that loan and add new money to it, that's a reportable transaction. Well, you already burnt up the loan number, you can't use it again. So how are you going to identify this modification plus new money? And that could happen multiple times over the life of a loan, potentially. So I'm trying to give you things to think about in how you're going to come up with this unique identifier. I bet most of you are going, boy, I thought that was like a slam dunk. We were more worried about other things we haven't talked about yet than this. And the number one thing out of the gates got all this tied to it? Yes, it does. Now, here's the good news. Once you figure it out and come up with a system, we don't have to have this discussion again. So it's like a one-time headache. Take the medicine and move on, and we do the rest of it later on.